If she stands beside you when you have nothing, believes in you when the world doubts you, protects your heart without asking for applause, and loves you in a way that makes you want to become a better man, then listen carefully, because in this life, many men lose the woman they prayed for simply because they were too blind to recognize her value while they still had her. There comes a moment in every man's life when he finally understands that beauty fades, excitement changes, and temporary feelings come and go, but a real woman, a loyal woman, a woman who genuinely loves you with her soul is one of the rarest blessings you will ever receive. See, a lot of men spend years chasing what looks good instead of holding on to what feels right. They confuse attention for love. They confuse attraction for peace. And by the time they realize the difference, the woman who truly cared is already gone. That's why today, I want every man listening to me to pay attention with his heart, not just his ears. Because if she does these 5 things, you never let her go. Let me tell you something about life. A woman can smile at you and still not care about your future. She can hold wide. Eye hand and still secretly doubt you. She can say, I love you, and still disappear when life gets hard. But when a woman truly loves a man, you don't just hear it. You feel it in the way she carries your burdens without making you feel weak. You feel it in the way she protects your dignity even when she's upset. You feel it in the way she believes in your potential before you even believe in yourself. And the sad truth is, many men don't recognize this kind of woman until pain teaches them what love really was. I remember a man once telling me that he lost the best woman he ever had because he thought she would always stay. He said she stood beside him during his broken days. When he had no direction, she encouraged him. When everybody laughed at his dreams, she defended him. She worked extra hours to help keep things together while he tried to build a future. But when success finally came, so did his ego. He stopped appreciating her sacrifices. He started entertaining distractions. He thought attention from other women meant he had options. And one day, the woman who once begged for his attention became silent. Now listen to me carefully. A woman's silence is dangerous when she's silent. He's been giving her all for too long. Because once her heart gets tired, she stops fighting for the relationship. She stops explaining herself. She stops asking for love. And eventually she leaves emotionally long before she leaves physically. That man looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, I spent years searching for what I already had. That right there is a lesson too many men learn too late. The first thing a woman does when she truly belongs in your life is this. She brings peace into your chaos. Now I want you to understand this deeply. Real love is not constant confusion. Real love is not emotional games every single day. A good woman doesn't wake up every morning trying to destroy your peace. She becomes your safe place from the pressure of the world. See, life already fights a man enough. The world tests your strength daily. Bills, stress, failures, disappointments, they all weigh heavy on a man's shoulders. So when you come home to a woman who speaks life into you instead of draining the life out of you, that is not something to take lightly. A peaceful woman is priceless. I'm not saying she'll never get upset. She's human. She has emotions. She has pain. You too. But even in disagreement, a good woman still respects the relationship. She doesn't try to humiliate you. She doesn't enjoy tearing you down. Her goal is to solve the problem, not destroy the man she loves. That kind of peace changes a man. There are men walking around today with money, status, and success, but no peace. And they would trade all of it just to come home to someone who genuinely loves them without constant drama. You see, peace is a form of love too. And if she gives you peace in a world full of stress, never let her go. I remember another story about a couple who struggled financially for years. The man lost his job unexpectedly. Everything around him started falling apart. His confidence disappeared. He became frustrated, embarrassed, and emotionally exhausted. He expected the woman he loved to criticize him, maybe even leave him, because that's what fear tells a man when life gets hard. But instead, she sat beside him one night and said something he never forgot. She said, "We are struggling right now, but I still believe in the man you are becoming." Now listen to me carefully. Those words saved him. Sometimes a man doesn't need a woman to fix his problems. Sometimes he just needs her belief. Because when a woman truly believes in you, she gives you strength you didn't know you had. That's the second thing. If she believes in your future even during your worst season, never let her go. Anybody can love you when life is easy. Anybody can stand beside you when the money is flowing, when the confidence is high, when the smiles are easy. But the real test of love happens during struggle. A woman who sees greatness in you while you're still trying to figure life out is rare. And let me tell you something else. Men grow differently when they feel supported instead of constantly judged. Encouragement builds a man. Respect strengthens a man. Belief motivates a man to fight harder for his dreams. Some men became successful because one woman refused to stop believing in them. But too many men ignored that support while chasing temporary excitement from people who don't genuinely care about their soul. That's why loneliness hits so hard later in life, because eventually a man realizes attention is cheap, but genuine love is rare. You know what hurts the most? Losing a woman who prayed for you while you entertained women who played you wide with you. That pain stays with a man for years. And I need every young man listening right now to understand this before life teaches it to you the hard way. Stop looking only at beauty and start paying attention to character. Beauty may attract you, but character is what carries a relationship through storms. A real woman will challenge you to grow. She'll encourage discipline. She'll hold you accountable. She'll want the best version of you, not just the comfortable version. And sometimes men misunderstand this. They think a woman who pushes them to become better is being difficult. She sees your potential. She sees the king inside you even when you're acting like a boy. That kind of love is deep. Because easy love only feeds your ego. Real love feeds your growth. I once heard an older man say something powerful. He said, "The woman who truly loves you will water your future, not just admire your present." That line stayed with me, because the wrong woman only enjoys what you can give her today. But the right woman invests in who you can become tomorrow. And if she invests in your future, instead of only consuming your present, never let her go. The world has enough temporary people already, enough fake connections, enough shallow conversations, enough relationships built on appearances instead of substance. What people are starving for now is realness. Someone who stays loyal when nobody's watching. Someone who speaks honestly even when it's uncomfortable. Someone who loves with consistency instead of convenience. And when you find a woman with that kind of heart, you don't play games with her emotions. You protect her. You appreciate her. You grow with her. Because one day you will realize that true love was never about finding someone perfect. It was about finding someone genuine enough to walk beside you through an imperfect life. There's something many men don't understand until life humbles them. A woman can give her body to you and still not give you her heart. She can spend time with you and still not truly care about your well-being. But when a woman genuinely loves you, She starts protecting things that most people ignore: your name, your dreams, your peace, your dignity, your emotional wounds. And that brings me to the third thing. If she protects your heart instead of playing with it, never let her go. Now listen about you. Really, because this part is important. The world already does enough damage to a man. Life can be brutal. People betray you. Friends disappear. Family misunderstands you. Society pressures you to act strong even when you're hurting inside. So when you finally find a woman who handles your heart with care instead of carelessness, you better recognize what you have. A real woman doesn't use your vulnerability as a weapon. See, a lot of men stop opening up emotionally because somewhere along the way, somebody laughed at their pain. Somebody used their weakness against them. Somebody made them regret being honest. That's why many men walk around emotionally guarded, smiling outside but suffering silently inside. But when a good woman enters a man's life, she creates emotional safety. She makes him feel respected, not ashamed. She listens without attacking. She comforts without controlling. She understands that strength and pain can exist inside the same man. And once a man feels emotionally safe with a woman, his loyalty grows naturally. I remember hearing about a husband who lost his business after 20 years of hard work. Everything collapsed, debt piled up, depression hit him hard. He stopped talking. He stopped sleeping properly. Deep down, he felt like a failure. One night, he broke down crying in front of his wife for the first time in years. And do you know what she did? She didn't mock him. She didn't judge him. She didn't throw his failures back in his face. She held his hand and said, "You are still the man I chose." Now that right there, that's love. Because real love doesn't disappear the moment life becomes uncomfortable. Anybody can celebrate you when you're winning, but the woman who still respects you when life knocks you down, that woman is rare. And sadly, some men only understand this after they lose her. See, people think heartbreak only belongs to women. Number. Men break too. Men suffer too. Men sit alone, replaying memories too. Men cry in silence too, especially after losing a woman who genuinely cared. A man may act fine on the outside. He may distract himself with work, parties, attention, or pride. But deep down, there's a different kind of pain when he realizes he lost somebody who truly loved him for who he was and not just what he had. That realization can haunt a man for years because genuine love leaves fingerprints on the soul. You never fully forget the woman who stood beside you when life was dark. You never forget the woman who defended your name when others doubted you. You never forget the woman who stayed loyal while everybody else was temporary. And if you're blessed enough to still have that woman in your life, stop taking her presence for granted. Do you know what destroys many relationships today? Ego. Pride has destroyed more love stories than distance ever could. Some men refuse to apologize. Some women refuse to communicate. Both people start competing instead of connecting. And little by little, love dies from emotional neglect. That's why emotional maturity matters so much. A good woman understands that relationships require patience. She understands that two imperfect people are trying to build something meaningful together. So instead of trying to win every argument, she fights to protect the relationship itself. That's the fourth thing. If she stays loyal through difficult seasons instead of abandoning you the moment life gets hard, never let her go. Loyalty is easy when everything feels exciting. Loyalty is easy when the vacations are happening, when the pictures look perfect, when the laughter comes naturally. But real loyalty reveals itself during struggle. Can she stay when life becomes uncomfortable? Can she stay when you're rebuilding yourself? Can she stay when the future feels uncertain? That's when true character shows itself. I know a man who spent years trying to become successful. He failed multiple times. Businesses collapsed. Opportunities disappeared. People around him slowly stopped believing in him. Some even mocked him behind his back. But there was one woman who stayed. She worked long hours. She encouraged him when he felt defeated. She reminded him that failure was not the end of his story. Years later, the man finally succeeded beyond what anybody expected. And during an interview, somebody asked him, "What kept you going when everything was falling apart?" He smiled and said, "Her faith in me." Now think about that. Sometimes the greatest blessing in a man's life is not money, not fame, not status. Sometimes it's simply having one person who refuses to give up on him. And men who lose that kind of woman often spend the rest of their lives searching for what they carelessly walked away from. Because loyalty cannot be replaced by beauty. It cannot be replaced by attention. It cannot be replaced by temporary excitement. Loyalty is built over sacrifice, consistency, trust, and time. And once broken, it's incredibly hard to find again. That's why I always tell people, stop chasing perfection and start appreciating loyalty. Nobody wakes up perfect every day. There will be disagreements. There will be stressful moments. There will be misunderstandings. But if somebody consistently chooses you despite life's difficulties, that means something. That kind of love deserves gratitude. And let me speak directly to the women listening for a moment too. Never underestimate the impact your support has on a man. A man who feels respected at home fights differently in the world. A man who feels loved sincerely walks with more confidence. A man who feels emotionally safe becomes stronger mentally and spiritually. Your love can heal wounds he never talks about openly. But at the same time, men must learn to appreciate good women while they still have them. Too many people wait until absence teaches them value. And absence is a painful teacher. Because once a good woman emotionally disconnects, it becomes almost impossible to restore what negligence destroyed. A woman can forgive many things, but she never forgets consistently feeling unappreciated. That feeling slowly breaks her spirit. She may continue smiling. She may continue helping. She may continue loving quietly. But deep down, her heart starts getting tired. And once a woman gets tired emotionally, the relationship enters dangerous territory. That's why appreciation matters so much. Not expensive gifts, not fake social media performances. Real appreciation, simple words, consistent respect, loyal behavior, emotional presence. Those little things keep love alive because at the end of the day, people don't leave relationships only because of problems. Sometimes they leave because they feel invisible inside the relationship, and a good woman should never feel invisible beside the man she sacrifices for. You know, one of the greatest mistakes people make in relationships is assuming love can survive without effort. It can't. Love is like a garden. If you stop watering it, eventually something beautiful begins to die quietly. And most people never notice the damage until the silence becomes permanent. That's why the fifth thing is perhaps the most powerful of all. If she inspires you to become a better man without trying to control who you are, never let her go. Now hear me clearly. There's a difference between a woman who constantly criticizes you and a woman who genuinely wants to see you grow. A real woman doesn't push you because she hates you. She pushes you because she sees potential in you that even you may not fully recognize yet. Some men are alive physically but asleep spiritually, comfortable, undisciplined, wasting their gifts, avoiding responsibility. And sometimes God places a good woman in a man's life not just to love him, but to awaken him. Because the right woman won't let you stay average forever. She'll encourage you to dream bigger, to heal emotionally, to become more responsible, to stop sabotaging your future. And at first, that kind of love can feel uncomfortable. Why? Because growth is uncomfortable. See, people love comfort until comfort starts destroying their destiny. A real woman challenges your excuses, not to embarrass you, not to control you, but because she knows you were created for more. I remember hearing about a young ma, and who spent years wasting his potential. He partied constantly, avoided responsibility, jumped from distraction to distraction. Everybody around him expected him to fail eventually. Then he met a woman who saw something different in him. She didn't fall in love with his bad habits. She fell in love with the man he could become. She encouraged him to go back to school, encouraged him to rebuild his relationship with his family, encouraged him to take his goals seriously. At first, he resisted her advice because immature people often confuse accountability with pressure. But slowly, he started changing. Years later, he became successful, disciplined, emotionally mature, and deeply respected. And one day somebody asked him, "What changed your life?" He said something powerful. He said, "She loved me enough not to let me destroy myself." That's real love, because real love doesn't just make you feel good temporarily. Real love transforms you. Temporary people entertain your distractions. Real people challenge your growth. And let me tell every man listening something important right now. The woman who helps you become stronger mentally, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. Allah is not your enemy. She's your blessing. Don't punish her because she expects greatness from you. Too many men lose good women because they mistake accountability for criticism. They run toward easy relationships where nobody expects growth, discipline, or maturity. But eventually those same men feel empty because deep down, every human being wants a meaningful life. And meaningful lives require growth. You know, there's a reason many successful men speak so highly about the women who stood beside them before success arrived. Because they understand something immature men don't yet understand. Support is priceless. A woman who sees greatness in you before the world applauds you is rare. Especially nowadays, when so many relationships are built on convenience instead of commitment. People leave too quickly now, quit too easily now, replace people too casually now. But true connection takes time, patience, forgiveness, sacrifice. That's why mature love feels different. It's calmer, deeper, safer. It's not built only on excitement. It's built on trust. And trust is one of the most valuable things two people can build together. Because once trust exists, love has root. TS. Without trust, relationships become performances. You start hiding parts of yourself, pretending, walking on emotional eggshells. But with the right woman, you can breathe. You don't feel like you're constantly being tested. You don't feel emotionally drained every day. You feel accepted while still being encouraged to grow. That balance is rare. And I want to say something that many men need to hear. Stop waiting until loss teaches you gratitude. Appreciate her now. Not when she leaves. Not when somebody else starts valuing her. Not when loneliness humbles you. Now. Because too many men become romantic historians. They suddenly remember every sacrifice, every prayer, every act of loyalty only after the relationship is over. And regret is heavy, especially when you realize you were loved genuinely by somebody who only wanted honesty, effort, and appreciation in return. I've seen men become wealthy but emotionally broken because they lost the one woman who truly understood them. Money cannot hug you during heartbreak. Fame cannot heal loneliness. Attention cannot replace emotional connection. That's why some of the saddest people in the world are people who traded genuine love for temporary pleasure. And eventually, temporary pleasure always expires. But real love leaves a permanent mark on your life. You know what else matters? A woman who respects herself, because a woman who respects herself will naturally teach others how to treat her. She won't tolerate constant disrespect. She won't beg endlessly for bare minimum effort. She won't destroy herself trying to force somebody to value her. And believe it or not, that's a good thing, because boundaries protect love too. Sometimes men complain about losing a good woman without realizing she left because she got tired of being emotionally neglected. A woman can only carry the relationship alone for so long. She wants effort too. She wants reassurance too. She wants loyalty too. Love cannot survive if only one person keeps pouring while the other person keeps consuming. Relationships are partnerships, not prisons. And mature love requires both people to keep choosing each other consistently. That's the part social media rarely talks about. Everybody loves posting relationship goals. Very few people talk about relationship maintenance, the hard conversations, the forgivenness, the patience during stressful seasons, the decision to stay committed when emotions fluctuate. Because real love is not built only during happy moments. It's built during difficult moments, handled correctly. And the couples who survive the storms together develop a bond that casual relationships will never understand. A deep bond, a peaceful bond, a lasting bond. So if she brings peace into your chaos, if she believes in you during hard seasons, if she protects your heart instead of damaging it, if she stays loyal when life becomes difficult, and if she inspires you to become the best version of yourself, then listen carefully to me, brother. You don't play games with that woman. You cherish her. You honor her. You protect the connection you have with her, because finding genuine love in today's world is rare, and losing it carelessly can become one of the greatest regrets of your life. There's a truth about life that most people only understand after heartbreak breaks them open emotionally. You can spend years chasing excitement, attention, and temporary feelings, but at the end of the day, the human soul is really searching for one thing: peaceful, genuine love. Not perfect love, not movie love, not fake social media love. Real love, the kind that stays when life gets heavy, the kind that prays for you quietly, the kind that sees your flaws clearly and still chooses to stand beside you while you grow. And the reason so many people feel empty today is because they keep treating real love like it's replaceable. But it's not. You can replace conversations. You can replace entertainment. You can replace distractions. But you cannot easily replace somebody who genuinely loved your soul. That kind of connection is rare. And I want every man listening right now to ask himself an honest question. Have you been appreciating the woman who truly loves you? Or have you been assuming she'll stay no matter how little effort you give? Because assumption destroys relationships quietly. A woman may continue loving you while secretly feeling emotionally alone. She may continue supporting you while silently feeling exhausted. She may continue smiling while internally questioning her worth beside you. And the dangerous thing is, many men don't notice the emotional distance until the woman finally stops trying. See, women usually don't leave suit, deedingly emotionally. They leave slowly. First, they stop repeating themselves. Then they stop expecting effort. Then they stop fighting for attention. Then eventually they stop caring. And when a woman stops caring after giving her all, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild what was lost. That's why emotional consistency matters, not occasional effort, not temporary change after arguments. Consistency. A good woman should not have to beg constantly for respect, honesty, communication, and reassurance. Those things should flow naturally from a man who truly values her. And let me say this clearly. A relationship cannot survive long term if appreciation disappears. Everybody wants to feel seen. Everybody wants to feel valued. Everybody wants to feel emotionally safe, especially the person sacrificing beside you every day. You know what breaks many women emotionally? Feeling like their love is being taken for granted, cooking for you, supporting you, encouraging you, praying for you, staying loyal to you, and receiving emotional neglect in return. That pain changes people. Sometimes people don't become cold because they're heartless. Sometimes they become cold because I spent too long loving somebody who stopped noticing their effort. That's why gratitude is so important in relationships. Simple appreciation can save a relationship that pride would destroy. A simple thank you. A simple I appreciate you. A simple moment of emotional presence. Those little things matter more than people realize. I once heard an elderly couple speaking about their 50 years of marriage. Somebody asked the husband, what kept your relationship strong all these years? And his answer was powerful. He said, I never stopped courting my wife after marriage. Now think about that. Too many people stop trying after they become comfortable. In the beginning, they communicate deeply. They listen carefully. They prioritize each other emotionally. But over time, effort decreases, attention decreases, presence decreases, and then people act surprised when the relationship starts dying emotionally. Love must continue being nurtured. Even strong relationships require maintenance. You can't starve a connection emotionally and expect intimacy to remain healthy. That's why intentional love matters. Checking on her emotionally matters. Listening matters. Protecting trust matters. Making her feel chosen matters. Because a woman who feels emotionally secure loves differently. She becomes softer, more supportive, more connected. But emotional neglect slowly hardens even the purest hearts. And let me speak directly to the men for a moment. Do not become so distracted chasing success that you neglect the woman who helped you survive your struggle. Some men spend years praying for success, and once they achieve it, they forget the woman who stood beside them before anybody believed in them. That's one of the saddest mistakes a man can make, because loyalty during struggle is sacred. Anybody can celebrate you after success arrives. But the person who loved you before the applause, that person saw value in you beyond money, status, and recognition. Never forget that. And women need to hear something important too. Never lower your standards for somebody who only values you when it's convenient. A real relationship requires mutual effort. You should not have to constantly prove your worth to somebody benefiting from your love. The right person will appreciate your presence naturally. And that's something many people learn too late. 8. Love should feel like teamwork, not emotional survival. The strongest couples are not the couples who never struggle. They are the couples who refuse to stop choosing each other through the struggle. That's real commitment, not perfection. Commitment, because there will be difficult days, stressful seasons, misunderstandings, moments where emotions fluctuate. But mature love understands that feelings come and go while commitment requires daily decisions. That's why loyalty is so attractive. Not because loyal people are perfect, but because loyal people stay intentional even when life becomes challenging. And in a world full of temporary connections, intentional love feels rare now. People ghost each other easily, replace each other quickly, walk away without communication constantly. But emotionally mature people understand that deep connections should not be discarded carelessly, especially when somebody has genuinely loved you with sincerity. You know, some people spend their entire lives searching for the exact kind of person they once had but failed to appreciate. And no amount of success removes that regret completely, because heartbreak teaches lessons that comfort never could. It teaches you the value of loyalty, the value of emotional safety, the value of genuine support. And sometimes it teaches those lessons after the relationship is already gone. That's why wisdom matters before loss happens. Don't wait until loneliness forces you to appreciate somebody's value. Value them while they're still beside you. Protect what protects you emotionally. Love who loves you sincerely. And if you are blessed enough to have a woman who brings peace instead of chaos, who stays loyal instead of playing games, who encourages your growth instead of feeding your destruction, who protects your heart instead of damaging it, and who genuinely wants to build a meaningful life beside you, then don't just love her with words. Love her with consistency. Love her with honesty. Love her with effort. Love her with actions. Because at the end of life, people rarely regret loving deeply. They regret not appreciating real love when they had the chance. At the end of the day, a real woman is not measured only by how she loves you during your best moments, but by how she stands beside you during your hardest ones. And if you find a woman who brings peace, ease to your soul, strength to your weekdays, loyalty to your storms, and love that pushes you to become better, never gamble with that blessing. Because in a world full of temporary people and shallow connections, genuine love is rare. And the men who protect it, appreciate it, and nurture it with honesty and consistency are the ones who end up truly rich in life, not just in money, but in peace, purpose, and lasting happiness.